They're checking.
Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2.
Thank you.
Mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Mic check. Mic check. Are we good? Keep going. Okay. All right. Mic check 1 2. I will keep getting mic checking here. So mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. And all right, we're good up there. All right. Awesome.
Huh? I think 13. Right, 13. I'm just waiting until she, because it said to give it to her later.
Yeah, I heard that.
Oh, she doesn't want to know.
No, she doesn't want to go out unless we have to do something afterwards.
Okay. Okay.
We'll carry around the handle.
Sure. Okay, and then we have the mic from the mold box.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I heard it's not interesting.
Okay. Okay. 13 minutes. Okay. Sure.
Welcome. But they also, they've also said before,
Okay.
Is the box turned on?
Okay, sure.
I mean, it's like fine, but you
I can't hear it.
Little man. Go, cable guy. No. There, that, I heard it. Oh, really? Okay. But I heard it. Mine, I heard it.
That's 1 2.
Let's wait.
That's 1 2.
Okay.
We can bring them down, okay?
I'm sorry.
3 and 4 down.
come down to like when you're in. I'll be ready in just like minutes.
Bring them down.
Did he lower it? Can you do the test again? Can you do the test?
Huh?
Can you do it again? Were you doing this, the mic?
Real fast, we just gotta get them out, okay?
Yeah.
Bring number 3 up. Bring number 3 up.
Test 1 2 3 4.
Yeah.
Test 1 2 3 4.
Okay. Bring it down.
Bring it out.
Audio is low, right?
I don't have anything.
Me too.
You don't look here.
So that's why I get it from speaker.
No, but
I have another microphone from speaker. It's much better. Because our camera, I don't think there's
You
no...
don't have through the line, so.
I have. I tried. So I have both lines. I have mine from the audio box.
Where did you?
There's another speaker.
this one here.
So I put my mic before the speaker.
Right, this is like.
We put the
What I would
volume
say is,
very low.
no. I would say, like you could do your mic and you put it next to it. It would be nice.
Hi. Yeah, no problem. I try. Okay. Yeah, okay, got it. That's fine. Okay. There, it's just that they were not streaming at the time, so I can get it back.
And they,
It's there all the time.
yeah, but I want to make sure she can hear it on my phone.
Just wondering once it comes in. I'm going to go back. Just dead? I just want to start. I'm just waiting for the a little bit closer so I can start it and I'll go to my phone.
Waiting.
Dita, so nice to meet you. I like to answer.
Yes, it is. Yes. Wally Santana. So much. How are you? Good. Awesome. Yeah, stay right there. Absolutely. Who's doing this? You got the TV and still. You were told. I asked Wally. Probably not. Yes, sir. Put it right here. Ed.
You're even on this trip? Where have you been? I did. I haven't seen it on TV either, so. Some midterm.
So I'm gonna move it down here. All right.
Oh, do you?
Oh, I'm sorry.
But other than that, it's okay.
Yeah, Wally Santana. Mega, Allison, who's calling this? The guy right there calling you. Sure.
Or yeah.
Yeah, we met. Hey, how are you? Yeah. Oh, nice to meet you. Lisa, this is Lisa with AP. Ah, okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, but it's too slow. Yeah. Hello.
So what?
What?
Somebody wanted to do it? Okay. All right. Thank you. Well, it was working great.
No, that's yeah. You mean?
I guess we could send another still.
No, like I think that's the one. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah. I was told it's like 10 o'clock. Yeah. Hamburger? Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
I'm gonna go get a position.
Test 1 2 3 4. Audio test mic test 1 2 3 4. Hey. Audio test mic test 1 2 3 4. Going to the handheld mic. Test 1 2 3 4. Test 1 2 3 4. Going to the handheld mic. Switch to mic, okay? Test 1 2. All right. Test. Audio test mic test 1 2 3 4. Appreciate you. Bring it down.
A good thing I brought my lip.
Just the handheld.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bring the handheld down.
The lip mic. So, thank you. Yeah. Just in a booster again. You hearing it now, Celia? Huh?
Just about 3 hours, waiting for the president to come out and take questions. In that readout, the president spoke candidly and directly, according to the readout, about a series of issues, human rights issues, including U.S. objections. What was framed as more aggressive behavior when it comes to Taiwan and in the Taiwan Strait specifically. But there were also areas laid out that I think are critical given the low state of affairs when it comes to this bilateral relationship, including the idea that both leaders decided that their senior officials would be empowered to open up lines of communication. That's something the larger careers and first 3 years in office, also detailing areas that they think they can work together. Perhaps notably at the bottom of the statement, the issue of Ukraine, why does Ukraine, President Xi's reference point where he stands on the overall issue of Ukraine. He did say there was an agreement that nuclear weapons cannot be used, nuclear weapons should not be used in Ukraine. Obviously, this is a good president. So we'll have to see how the president frames what he's willing to carry responses were to some of the direct objections raised by the U.S. or when it comes to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. But the U.S. laying out in great detail, to some degree, guys, the path forward of a relationship that has been at the low point for several months.
Oh, no, it's not just that. Yeah. So AP. I think it's AP also. Yeah. The guy there with the white hair is AP. Yeah. He has a API. My friend, are you AP? Oh, I see. Oh, sorry. You're with me. What? Are you with me?
I'm from Russia.
How do I say?
Forgot how to say I love you.
Check-in with Peter. Now let's move to the second.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
did they say? One more. I can think. They say.
Yeah, I'm not gonna run it. Oh, I think this place is built like thing, but it's like it was built commercial lines from all
Hey, Johnson, how about the one here? You also have, but it's low, right? There it is.
Oh, but me, I have nothing.
No, about the mic. I'm on mic. Ask for a lid.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So which one? Which cable is this? Channel one.
Channel 1, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm on mic. Yeah, my setup is mic.
I didn't want a small camera because I'm probably for the big camera. It's fine.
But you're online or online?
Mic.
Oh. Okay.
It's mic, not light.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, sir. Tie a yellow ribbon. There you are. Yeah, put it on mic. Yeah, yeah. It will be a little bit low, but, you know. Same thing as what we have here. It's all good. I'm not even going to worry about anything else. Here, you need power supply? Here, this is ours. This one is ours. This one is the whole thing. Yeah, yeah. Okay, Ian is doing it. And, yeah. Oh.
Period. I know. I don't know what that problem is. You try to check London. No, I checked it out. I don't think it's going to be the same thing. It's not a. What about you need?
They haven't what? She can't hear so far.
What about on the phone? Could you maybe have to use that phone?
You can do that, it's just
No, I know. No, I don't know what the problem is. Check everything. Not the box, not the battery, only that.
Ben?
Well, it's like cyclical, so it's not it doesn't feel like a loose cable or a loose connection because it's not random.
it's like it cuts out. It's sort of you hear it and then it cuts out and it comes back again. And it cuts out and it comes back again. So it's almost different. No, I've checked that, double checked that. I've checked not only that, I've put on a separate IFB box, separate batteries. That's not the issue. I've done that. I've checked the Definitely feels like a bad, something bad coming out of the Yeah. Yeah, and unfortunately they've given us a fast internet cable, which this just not reading it. I've done tests like this as well. You check the cable next to it's not, I promise it's not the cut, there's no one here to talk to, but the next to me, I've got the same, I've got a cable going into there. And we swap cables, and it's the same problem. I don't take it in this team. Put it into our live unit, it doesn't recognize. So we need to stop the cable. And I've got a green light, coming in, and I plug up the live unit. It's a green light at the back. But it's just not recognizing the Ethernet. The other hotel it was fine. Yeah, it's been up a long time. It's quite been up a while. Pretty much, yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's I don't know. It was right from the get-go. I didn't check it. The only reason I checked it was been overheating. It's been on very long. Signals, the 4G signals all look pretty good.
Yeah, they took it down a lot.
Oh, really? So they're not good. That sounds like
It's just been out, it's just buried now. Oh, that's why. That's why.
Dana, it's not the heat.
well, I need to suggest that
But it feels like this event is getting close. We do have the official readout from the White House, and there are two words that are missing, two topics that are missing from this first draft of history, really. COVID not being advertised as a topic of discussion debate, and neither is conventional and reasonable. Relevant come from China. And COVID is something China misled the world about from the outset. The closest this readout gets
White House was very clear that the president was going to be very candid about objections and concerns that the U.S. had when it came to China's actions, particularly when it came to Taiwan, where the aggressive behavior U.S. officials have seen in the last year on Taiwan Strait, also on human rights issues in Taiwan. And according to the readout, which was released by the White House after the meeting, those objections to empower their senior officials to provide communications and make the team that applies to you know well the ability for U.S. officials and their counterparts at the highest level to communicate over the last 2 years. The market being frozen to a minimum very fast. So reopening those lines is critical. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, President Biden asked him.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minutes, everyone.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And we just are here now.
You okay?
2-minute warning.
President Zero, about a minute and a half. His view of President Xi's perspective, we have to watch out for priorities. President Biden tells President Xi's
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Welcome to Valley. Please. Good evening, everyone. Let me start with a few words about the recent elections held in the United States. What we saw was the strength and resilience of American democracy, and we saw it in action. And the American people proved once again that democracy is who we are. There was a strong rejection of election deniers at every level, from those seeking to lead our states and those seeking to serve in Congress, and also those seeking to oversee the elections. And there was a strong rejection of political violence and voter intimidation. There was an emphatic statement that in America, the will of the people prevails. I've traveled this week, and it's been clear just how closely the world and our allies and our competitors as well have been following our elections at home. Excuse me, I'm a little cold. And what these elections showed is that there's a deep and unwavering commitment in America to preserving and protecting and defending democracy. Now, let me speak briefly about our agenda over the past few days in Egypt and in Cambodia and here in Indonesia. In this moment of great global challenges, from global inflation to the climate crisis to Russia's brutal war against Ukraine, we're bringing together the broadest possible coalition of partners to deliver results. At COP27 in Egypt, I made it clear that thanks to the bold agenda of our administration, we've pursued from day one to tackle the climate crisis and advance energy and security at home and around the world. The United States will meet our emissions targets under the Paris Agreement. And we're going to keep working with our partners to support the most vulnerable countries in building resilience to climate impacts and to align global ambition with the 1.5 degrees Celsius goal while supercharging our clean energy transition. At the U.S.-ASEAN Summit, in the East Asia Summit, I laid out a commitment to working with our partners in the Indo-Pacific to ensure a future that's vital to this region, that's free and open and prosperous as well as secure. And I met with our allies from Australia, Japan, and the Republic of Korea, underscoring our commitment and deepening our engagement with our closest partners and strengthening cooperation among our allies to meet shared threats to our own security and to their security, including the DPRK. And let me meet, I just met in person with Xi Jinping of the People's Republic of China. We had, we had an open and candid conversation about our intentions and our priorities. It was clear, he was clear and I was clear, that we'll defend American interests and values, promote universal human rights, and stand up for the international order and work in lockstep with our allies and partners. We're going to compete vigorously, but I'm not looking for conflict. I'm looking to manage this competition responsibly. And I want to make sure that every country abides by the international rules of the road. And we discussed that. The One China policy, our One China policy has not changed. Has not changed. We oppose unilateral change in the status quo by either side, and we're committed to maintaining the peace and stability in the Taiwan Straits. It was also clear that China and the United States should be able to work together where we can to solve global challenges that require every nation to do its part. We discussed Russia's aggression against Ukraine, reaffirmed our shared belief in the threat or the use of nuclear weapons is totally unacceptable, and I asked that Secretary Blinken travel to China to follow up on our discussions and continue keeping the lines of communication open between our two countries. Looking ahead at the G20 meetings tomorrow, we're going to be taking on the very issues that matter to people's lives, not only here, but also our allies and our partners. That means tackling the suffering that Russian aggression has unleashed, not just in Ukrainian people, but the people around the world, particularly food insecurity, and strengthening the fundamentals of our global economy for everyone. Support for debt relief, reforms for multilateral development banks, investments to bolster global health security, and to make sure the world is better prepared for the next pandemic. The G20 has been an important forum for the world's largest economies to work together for the good of people everywhere. And I'm looking forward to our meetings tomorrow. Now let me close with this. On my first trip overseas last year, I said that America was back. Back at home, back at the table, and back to leading the world. In the year and a half that's followed, we've shown exactly what that means. America is keeping its commitments. America is investing in our strength at home. America is working alongside our allies and partners to deliver real, meaningful progress around the world. And at this critical moment, no nation is better positioned to help build the future we want than the United States of America. Now, I'm happy to take questions, and I'm told there are going to be 4 questioners, but I'm not going to do 10 questions from each questioner. All right? Let's make that clear at the outset here. And Ken Thomas, Wall Street Journal.
Okay. You said at the outset of this meeting that you did not want competition to turn into conflict. Based on this meeting today, do you believe a new Cold War with China can be avoided? And specifically on the issue of Taiwan, you spoke about intentions. Do you believe China is intending to invade Taiwan at some point? And what warnings did you issue to President Xi if he were to take such action?
Well, to answer the first part of your question, I absolutely believe there need not be a new Cold War. I've met many times with Xi Jinping, and we were candid and clear with one another across the board. And I do not think there's any imminent attempt on the part of China to invade Taiwan. And I made it clear that our policy in Taiwan has not changed at all. It's the same exact position we've had. I made it clear that we want to see cross-strait issues peacefully resolved, and so it never has to come to that. And I'm convinced that he understood exactly what I was saying. I understood what he was saying. And look, I think the United States is better prepared than any country in the world, economically and politically, to deal with changing circumstances around the world. And I think that I think Xi Jinping we agreed that we would set up a set of circumstances where on issues that we had to further resolve details, we agreed that we would have our chief of staff, the appropriate cabinet members and others sit and meet with one another to discuss the details of every issue that was raised, and we raised a lot of issues. Sung Kim, Associated Press.
Mr. President, you met with President Xi, and you met with him face-to-face after he had unquestionably consolidated his power at home. So now that you've met with him face-to-face, how do you assess his sort of posture towards the United States now? And did you find him personally to be more confrontational or more conciliatory and willing to compromise?
Neither and yes. Yes, I didn't find him more confrontational and more conciliatory. I found him the way he's always been, direct and straightforward. And do I think he's willing to compromise on various issues? Yes. I think he understands that, look, I think, how can I say this tactfully? I think the election held in the United States, which still leaves a little bit uncertain, has sent a very strong message around the world that the United States is ready to play. The United States is, the Republicans who survived, along with the Democrats, are of the view that we're going to stay fully engaged in the world and that we, in fact, know what we're about. And so I don't get any sense that there's a more or less confrontation. We were very blunt with one another about places where we disagreed or where we were uncertain of each other's position, and we agreed we'd set up, as we did, mechanisms whereby we would meet in detail with the key people in each of our administrations to discuss how we could resolve them, or how, if they weren't resolved, on what basis were they not resolved. Sebastian Smith, the AFP.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Does the retaking of Kherson in Ukraine signal a turning point in the war, in your opinion? That the Ukrainians could realistically pursue their ultimate goal of expelling the Russians completely, including retaking Crimea? If so, does the US intend to support and facilitate that goal, as we've been doing so far with their other goals? Or would you perhaps see Kherson as a different kind of inflection point, basically a good time to start negotiating now that they've got some more strength than they had a few weeks ago?
First of all, it was a significant victory for Ukraine. Significant victory. And I can do nothing but applaud the courage, determination, and capacity of the Ukrainian people, the Ukrainian military. I mean, they have really been amazing. And I think it's hard to tell at this point exactly what it means in terms of, but I've been very clear that we're going to continue to provide a capability for the Ukrainian people to defend themselves, and we are not going to engage in any negotiation. There's nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine. It's a decision Ukraine has to make. I think you're going to see things slow down a bit because of the winter months and the inability to move as easily around the country. But I think it remains to be seen exactly what the outcome will be, except that I'm confident that Russia will not occupy or defend Ukraine as they intended from the beginning. I can't have trouble reading this. Reuters, Natanja Bose.
President, quick question on North Korea, which appears poised to conduct a new nuclear test. I'm wondering if you can talk about your specific discussions with President Xi on that. To what extent do you think China has the ability to talk North Korea out of conducting such tests? And what are the repercussions for U.S.-Chinese relations if a test goes forward?
Well, first of all, it's difficult to say that I am certain that China can control North Korea, number one. Number two, I made it clear to President Xi Jinping that I thought they had an obligation to attempt to make it clear to North Korea that they should not engage in long-range nuclear tests. And I made it clear as well that if they did, they, meaning North Korea, that we would have to take certain actions that would be more defensive on our behalf, and it would not be directed against North Korea. It would not be directed against China, but it would be to send a clear message to North Korea. We are going to defend our allies as well as American soil and American capacity. And so, but I do not think that it's difficult to determine whether or not China has the capacity. I'm confident China is not looking for North Korea to engage in further escalatory means, because I made it clear, and I made it clear from the very beginning and last year as well, that we will do what it needs to defend our capacity, to defend ourselves and our allies, South Korea, as well as Japan, and that we'd be more up in the face of China, but it wouldn't be because of China. It'd be because of what was going on in North Korea. So, again, on a number of these issues, we have put together teams where our National Security Advisor, Secretary of Defense, and others are going to be engaging with their counterparts in China to see, and we're not going to be able to work everything out. I'm not suggesting this is kumbaya, everybody is going to go away with everything in agreement. But I do not believe there's a need for concern of as one of you raised the legitimate question, the new Cold War. And I think that, I'll conclude by saying it this way. I want to be clear, and be clear with all leaders, but particularly with Xi Jinping, that I mean what I say and I say what I mean. So there's no misunderstanding. That's the biggest concern I have, is a misunderstanding about intentions or actions on each of our parts. So we went into, I'm looking at my team, how long did that meeting last? 3.5 hours. So we covered an awful lot of territory. And I must say that he was as straightforward as he has been with me in the past. And I think that we understand one another, which is the most important thing that can be done. I guess all of you are going swimming from here. It's not far.
Mr. President, what should Americans expect from Congress as it relates to abortion rights after midterms?
I don't think they can expect much of anything other than we're going to maintain our positions. I'm not going to get into more questions. I shouldn't even answer your question. No, I don't think. I don't think there's enough votes to codify unless something happens unusual in the House. I think we're going to get very close in the House, but I think it's going to be very close, but I think we're going to make it.
All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you. That's it.
This is the primary.
大家知道我最近在下班之后呢，会化身小厨娘来帮我舒压一下。不过不要变成地狱厨娘，就靠一小罐就可以了。它是谁呢？它是澎湖福朋喜来登酒店推出的海皇鲍鱼干贝 XO 酱。小小一瓢啊，可是有大大的学问。当你在煮菜的时候，如果加过量重咸的话，这点烤比不说呢，还会让你的夫妻之间有没有可能会失和？不止调味重要，当然你的里面的营养价值绝对不能少的。里头有很多像是呢这大干贝，就有很多像是这20多种的氨基酸，其实对于你人体之间是非常有效的，因为它里面有球蛋白，也是加分再加分。而另外呢还有很多啊，刚刚讲的是鲍鱼，现在讲的是干贝，因为干贝的部分其实它是大多数我们听到的牛肉、鸡肉等肉类，它的蛋白质是超过3倍之多的。里面还有石斑，它可以帮你补充你的胶原蛋白，让你看起来真的是水当当。